Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. If you are someone who is part of the community here that I'm building already, or if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. So if you're new to the channel, what I do here is talk about all things D&D related content. Basically, these first series of videos that I'm putting out here on YouTube are things that I have to say about the player's handbook. If you've looked at some of my past videos, I went ahead, did a deep dive on the monk, and so what I decided to do was start at the beginning of the player's handbook and make my way all the way through talking about all of the base class features and subclass features that are present within the player's handbook that I would want to fix, change, alter, or even add to. So in today's video, you guys, I wanted to go over the Bard and the Barbarian, the first two classes presented in the player's handbook, and talk about a couple of things. And first up is the Barbarian. When we look at the Barbarian as presented in the player's handbook, I think it's very, very clear in my experience, again, especially if you're looking at things from a mechanical perspective, that there is one subclass in the PHB that is far superior to the other, and that is the Totem Barbarian versus the Berserker Barbarian. Now, I absolutely love the flavor of both of these classes. I think they're distinct and unique and they're awesome. But when it comes to mechanics, the Totem Barbarian, as far as what barbarians are designed to do, is better. A big part of that reason is because of the Barbarian's base level, or the Berserker Barbarian's base third level feature, which is their Frenzy Rage. In my opinion, it's just not good. Mainly because it punishes you for doing the thing that your class is supposed to do. Now, there are a lot of people out there who might say, well, exhaustion's not that big of a deal, but exhaustion is kind of a death spiral, and it disincentivizes you to use it. And I think that's pretty poor design. So I'm gonna go over that and the fixes that I've made to it, as well as its 10th level feature, Intimidating Presence, which is also kinda trash. And then when it comes to the Bard, I love Bards. I don't think that there's anything wrong at all, in my opinion, with the base subclass features that are presented in the player's handbook. But there is one thing about the Bard that is absolute dog water, and that is the Capstone. So let's go ahead and dive into the computer. I will talk about the changes that I have made to those base class features and the subclass features, and we'll wrap things up after that. All right, guys, so here we are in the home brewery. This is my Bard and Barbarian rework. So let's go ahead and dive straight on into the base level, or the base class features and additions that I have made. So one of the things about the Barbarian is that their 13th and 17th level features are kind of empty levels. All you get is the addition of a brutal critical dice, which in my opinion is a fine feature, but it's definitely not worth 13th and 17th level just getting that one extra damage dice. It's kind of a letdown, and especially in those later tiers when casters are sort of taking over and things are going, you know, you got at 13th level, they've just gotten access to 7th level spells, you know, Mordecai's Magnificent Mansion, Plane Shift, all these things that are really changing the game. And then at 17th level, you know, they're getting access to 9th level spells. So the addition of one additional weapon damage dice is just terrible for these levels, so in my opinion anyway. So we went ahead and changed and added some things that I think make the add to the Barbarian base class. So first of all, at 13th level, the addition is Focused Rage. Beginning at 13th level, you found ways to hone your rage to embolden you in battle and protect your mind from outside influence. You gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws. One of the Barbarian's biggest weaknesses is that they can very easily be dominated or charmed, unless you're playing a Berserker, but they can very easily be dominated, charmed, and turned against the party. And I think that 13th level is a good level at which you can give them this proficiency and basically allow them to, you know, allow that to not happen as often. I just think it's a good addition. I think proficiency in a saving throw is worthy of a 13th level martial feature. The Rogue, I think, gets it maybe at this level as well, or 15th, I forget. The Gloomstalker Ranger, I believe, gets access to Wisdom saving throws at level 7. So I think that this is just, again, a solid addition to the base level Barbarian class. And, you know, Resilient Wisdom might be a feat that a lot of Barbarians are going to take anyway. So I think giving this to them, opening up that ASI for an additional feat choice for something a little more flavorful is awesome, and I like it a lot. And then finally, Inescapable Fury, the 17th level Barbarian feature. Again, 17th level, it is a huge milestone for every other character. And then the Barbarian base class, all you get is one extra damage dice at 17th level. It's trash. It's not good. So basically what I've done is taken a homebrew feat that I made and created this feature. So Inescapable Fury. Beginning at 17th level, your strength has reached legendary proportions and even the mightiest foes cannot escape your wrath. Beginning at 17th level, you have advantage on attack rolls against creatures you have grappled, and you may now grapple creatures up to 2 size categories larger than you. Furthermore, if you are grappling a creature that is the same size category as you, you are no longer or not at half speed while trying to drag or move them. Now, I think this is important because the Barbarian is such an excellent grappler. It is, in my play experience and watching people play Barbarians, grappling is a core component of how they operate. And I think that giving them this 17th level feature is fun. And also at this level, I mean, we're talking about now a Barbarian being able to grapple a pit fiend, or if they're enlarged or, you know, are benefiting from some form of enlargement, whether that's through a spell or an ability or a magical item. If they're large, they can grapple huge creatures. I mean, how cool is the image, right, of a Barbarian grappling an adult dragon or some other huge creature that you are doing battle with in these high tiers of play? And also, if you're a medium creature, there's no reason whatsoever why a Barbarian of 17th level can't grab a medium creature by the freaking throat and drag them around with their fast movement and how strong they are. At least that is what I believe. It also allows you to, like if you're grappling a creature, you know, you're getting a friend out of the shit, so to speak. You know, you can pick them up with one hand and sprint full speed with one of your allies in your hands. I think that's really cool. And again, just a fun feature that I think is actually maybe worth a 17th level. It might even be underpowered, to be perfectly honest, for a 17th level feature, but I think it's a lot better than a single damage dice, especially with that advantage on attack rolls against creatures you have grappled, because you can grapple a creature, no longer use reckless, and you can just wail on them. So those are the only 2 changes to the base level Barbarian. So let's move on to the subclass, Path of the Berserker. This frenzy is the worst part about the Berserker, because in the PHB you immediately gain a level of exhaustion. So all I've done here, and this is something that I collaborated with my friend Kyle, who is awesome, excellent dungeon master. Him and I collaborate and, you know, throw ideas back and forth a lot. But basically, when you go into a frenzied rage, first of all, you may make an extra weapon attack as a bonus action on the turn you enter your frenzied rage. In the PHB, you cannot do it as part of the bonus action you use to enter your frenzied rage, which I think is nonsense. So including the turn you do it and you enter your frenzied rage, you may also make an additional weapon attack. In addition, when this rage ends now, instead of automatically gaining a level of exhaustion, you must make a Constitution saving throw with a DC equal to 8 + 3 for each rage you have used since you finished your last long rest. On a failed save, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. It still retains some element of risk, but it's not just automatic. And I think it's gonna, again, it incentivizes you to use it much more often than you might otherwise use it. So that is why this change, I think it's a great change. Originally, I had thought to just remove the exhaustion component altogether, but I think keeping it, because that additional 3rd attack is a pretty powerful thing for a Barbarian, especially one with great Weapon Master and Reckless at their disposal. So keeping the risk a little bit there, but ameliorating it, not making it automatic, is, I think, a big incentive to use this feature much more often. And then also the Berserker's 10th level feature, Intimidating Presence, as written in the PHB, is absolute trash. Because it's 1 creature, it requires your bonus action, which again competes with, for 1 creature to maintain a frightened, it competes with that bonus action to make that additional weapon attack. And also, it's your charisma. It's based off of your charisma modifier, which is a guaranteed dump stat, almost inevitably, for every Barbarian I've ever played with or played. It now becomes creatures. Any number of creatures that you can see within 30 feet of you. That means you can do it to a crowded bar, you can do it to a handful of enemies that are around you. It increases the number of creatures, because Frightened is a powerful status effect, and I think that the Barbarian at 10th level should be able to frighten multiple creatures with how fucking crazy they are. So, and now the DC is based off of your strength modifier as well. I love strength-based intimidation checks for Barbarians because they're not plying you with veiled words. They are literally flexing and terrifying you to death, or breaking tables, or ripping people in half. So using their strength modifier as the DC makes it so that it's going to actually work because as written, it doesn't work ever, and they can do any number of creatures. Now, I still retained the bonus action because this makes this ability much more useful both in and out of combat now, which I think is huge. So retaining the bonus action competition for that extra attack basically allows you to, again, choose between a crowd control effect that is actually going to work and actually useful versus that extra single target damage. And I think that introducing that choice is great and gives the barbarian more options. So that's it for the barbarian. Let's move on now to the bard. So the bard, love bards, but their capstone, absolute ass. Fucking terrible. It's garbage. It's so bad. It's the worst capstone in the game, except for potentially the monks, which is also dog water. So let's make it better. Superior Inspiration. At 20th level, whenever you use your Bardic Inspiration feature to give another creature inspiration, you may select up to 2 creatures within range to gain an inspiration dice. This only expends 1 use of your Bardic Inspiration feature, regardless of the number of creatures chosen. So, basically now, you can inspire 2 people at once. It doubles the effective amount of your Bardic Inspiration, which I think is suitable for a capstone, right? And you, like I said, you can just do 2 at once. So you can do 1 if only 1 person is within range, or 2 if 2 people are within range. No matter if you do 1 or 2, it only expends 1 use. Furthermore, when you roll initiative and have no uses of your Bardic Inspiration left, you do not gain 1 inspiration, you gain a number of uses equal to half your proficiency bonus, which at 20th level is always going to be 6, so that's why there's no rounded down verbiage here. But I think that's an actual decent capstone for the bard, as opposed to the gain 1 use of your core class feature that you've had forever. So I think it's way better, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it too. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. And that's it, you guys. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of these changes, additions, and revisions. I personally like them. Of course, I'm biased, but I think that in a lot of cases it would incentivize me as a player to take a certain route. And it also, I think, again, just sort of amps up the features in terms of a power level to where they should be. I particularly like the additions to the Barbarians 13th and 17th level features because, in my opinion, 13th and 17th level are really big levels, and just the addition of brutal critical dice to me is not enough to give to the Barbarian, especially because those are the later tiers where casters really start to take over a little bit, just because they get access to such incredibly powerful spells. So I'm a big fan of those changes, as well as I love my own take on the Bard capstone. Again, I'm kind of biased, so take it how it is. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Let me know if there's anything that stands out that you would love to play as your next character or your next campaign. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Bye, nerds.